Welcome to Sleep with Myth. Close your eyes and let the world fade away. Tonight we drift beyond time, where gods dream and stories remember their light. The village that lived under a breathing sky, long before the shadow stole the heavens, before the stars disappeared like frightened birds, and before the moon lost its silver voice. There was a small village that slept beneath a sky that never stayed still. The elders said the sky breathed. At dawn it inhaled pink and gold. At dusk it exhaled purples and quiet blues. At night it shimmered like a heartbeat made of distant suns. Children called it the living roof. But one child, Era, felt something more. The sky didn't just breathe. Sometimes it watched. One night she told her grandmother, "It is not watching," the old woman said. "It is waiting." "For what?" Era whispered. "For the night it loses itself. The first crack in the heavens." One night silence swallowed the world. Era awoke to see her window glowing. Not with moonlight, but with a darkness shaped like a wing. A shadow lay across the sky. Not cloud, not smoke, not weather. A shape that swallowed starlight. The sky had stopped breathing. Villagers gathered outside, whispering, "The stars, they're gone. It's covering everything. What casts a shadow that big?" Era felt the air thinning. Her grandmother clutched her arm. "It has come." "What has?" "The hollow shadow." "What does it want?" "The sky." The shadow that ate light. It unfurled across the heavens. Where it passed, the stars weren't dimmed. They vanished. The sky didn't turn black. Turned into nothing. No depth, no sound, no bottom. Era stared. The shadow wasn't drifting. It was searching, moving across the heavens as though seeking a tear in the world. "All worlds are born with a ceiling," her grandmother murmured. "Tonight, something beyond that ceiling has slipped through." "What is it?" Era asked. "A hunger," the old woman whispered, "and a question." The question in the dark. The shadow halted in the sky's center. Then came the sound. A low hum, barely audible. Yet every stone vibrated. Every flame bent. Every heartbeat stumbled. A whisper formed inside every mind. "Who took my sky?" Era froze. Her grandmother fell to her knees. "It thinks the sky was stolen," Era breathed. "It wants to take it back." The shadow expanded sharply, like a silent scream. The last stars blinked out. The sky tore open. The night without a ceiling begins. Wind roared upward, pulling everything toward the hollow above. Era slid, but her grandmother seized her. "Stay to the earth. Don't look into it." But Era looked. A massive lidless eye of shadow gazed down. It blinked by absorbing light. Spoke again. "I will take back what was mine." The ground shook. The wind howled. The heavens tore wider. And the world fell into a night with no ceiling. The night with no ceiling changed the world immediately. Darkness had always descended softly, like a blanket settling over the land. But this darkness did not fall. It pulled upward, as if the hollow sky were dragging the world into itself. Dust rose upward. Flames leaned toward the heavens. Even the river reached thin shimmering strands toward the void above. Era watched lanterns, stones, and even droplets of water lift into the air. Her grandmother held her tightly. "Do not let go," she warned. "The hollow shadow steals whatever forgets it belongs to the earth." "Why is it doing this?" Era whispered. "Because the sky was a door," her grandmother murmured. "And tonight, the door is open. The village without a horizon." Villagers fled to the old stone shrine. Torin, the chief, tried to raise a torch. Instead, the flame stretched upward violently, pulled toward the hollow. "This is not wind," he choked. "The sky is sucking the world away." Era stepped forward. "It asked a question," she said. "What question?" the villagers demanded. Era swallowed. "It whispered, 'Who took my sky?'" Her grandmother nodded gravely. "It believes something stole the sky, not people, but something older, something powerful." "What could steal the sky?" Era asked. "That is why the shadow searches. It has forgotten where its sky went. The last light in the world." Then a whisper split the air. Torches darkened. Lanterns died. Shapes vanished. The world became utterly black. Children screamed. Mothers clutched them. Neighbors reached desperately for hands they could no longer see. Era felt herself swallowed by the void, until a small golden ember flickered in her hand. Her grandmother gasped. "You carry the last light." "My what?" "You were born skyborn, a child whose spirit resonates with the heavens." "That's only a story." "Stories endure because they hide truth." The shadow returns. A massive presence drifted overhead. Felt, not seen. The shadow, its awareness pressed down on the village like a mountain. Era lifted her tiny glow. The shadow froze. A vast voice rumbled. "There is light left?" The villagers collapsed in fear. Her grandmother hissed, "Hide it, if it sees the last light." But it was too late. The shadow descended, forming an enormous hollow eye. "Give it back," it commanded. "What does it want?" Era whispered. "It thinks your light is its missing sky." "Return my sky," the shadow thundered. Era held the light tighter. "No," the shadow roared, a sound like mountains collapsing into nothing. "The skyborn mark awakens." The ember flared. A symbol burned onto Era's skin, a swirling mark shaped like an opening sky. "The skyborn mark," villagers cried. "She is the one." The shadow recoiled. "You hold my star." "This isn't yours," Era whispered. "This is a piece of my sky," the shadow thundered. "Stolen long ago." But memories surged inside Era. A sky cracking, a star escaping, a screaming void, a child born holding the escaped light. Her grandmother spoke softly. "That light is not its sky. It is what escaped from it." Era's voice trembled. "The shadow didn't lose the sky. It lost itself. Give me back what I was." The ground cracked. The hollow widened. Era stumbled, and the air behind her split apart. She fell into nothing. The fall into the hollow. Gravity vanished. Sound melted. Era tumbled through shifting layers of darkness. Whispers followed. "You carry what I lost." You will return me to myself. You will show me the sky. What do you want from me? Era cried. I want to be whole. The hollow answered. A tear opened beneath her. She fell. The night beneath all nights. Era landed on a smooth, ink-black surface. Above her stretched the ceiling of absolute nothing. Below her, a reflective floor shimmered faintly. She was no longer below the sky. She was in the place where the sky used to be. Something moved in the dark. It approached, slow, silent, immense. Era lifted the last light. The darkness shivered. The place where the sky used to be. Era stood shaking. Her bare feet pressed to a floor that looked like polished glass and felt like cold breath. Above her yawned the void, a ceiling of absolute nothingness that did not loom, did not swirl, did not move. It simply existed as an absence. Below her, the reflective ground shivered softly, echoing the faint glow of the ember she held in her hand. The last light. Her heart pounded. This is inside it, she whispered. Inside the hollow shadow. A sound like shifting mountains answered her. Not from above. From everywhere. The shape without form. Something moved at the edge of her vision. Era turned, but there was nothing there. Then the nothing moved again. It peeled away from the dark in slow, deliberate layers, forming a shape so vast she could not measure it. Not a body, not really, more like an outline carved into the void itself. An absence shaped like a creature the sky once tried to hold and failed. Two hollows formed where eyes might be. A mouth appeared, not as lips or teeth, but as a jagged curve where reality refused to exist. You fell through my wound, the hollow shadow said. Its voice did not travel through the air. It moved through her bones. This is your wound? Era whispered. This whole place. Yes. The shadow leaned closer. This is where the sky was taken from me. The stolen roof. Images crashed across Era's vision. Not like memories she had lived, but memories the shadow had buried. Once there had been no sky, only endless, shifting light. A sea of brightness without ground or horizon. From that sea, a being rose. A colossal presence of smoke and unshaped thought. The first shadow. It curled around the light, wrapping it like arms around a sleeping child. That was you? Era whispered, seeing it clearly. I was the first hollow, it agreed. The one who guarded the brightness I called my sky. Era watched as the light coalesced into color. Blues, golds, violets, and the shadow folded around it, loving it the only way a void could, by holding what it did not understand. But something else moved in the brightness. A hand, a will, a whisper, asterisk world, asterisk. The brightness hardened into a thin, luminous shell. A dome stretched over a newborn land. A sky. The shadow clutched at it. But the shell pulled away. It peeled from its embrace and descended, solidifying above mountains, oceans, forests, and valleys. The shadow was left reaching upward, empty. It took my sky. The hollow roared, anguish crackling through its voice. One day it was within me. The next, it turned its face and left. Era staggered as the vision dissolved. It didn't leave to hurt you, she whispered. It left to become a roof for the world. It belonged to me. But you never asked what it wanted, Era said softly. The sky does not want. It is. She swallowed, clutching her ember tighter. Then why did it run? The child of escaped light. The hollow shadow circled her, its presence dragging cold wind in spirals. Inside you, it rumbled. A piece of what was stolen. A star that slipped out while my sky was being pulled away. Images flickered again. The luminous dome, newborn sky, broke into droplets of light as it formed. Most of those droplets fused into stars, moons, and shimmering veils. But one droplet fell backward, through the shadow's chest, tearing a tiny wound as it dropped. It plummeted into the world below, burned through clouds, slipped into a river, into a home, into a newborn's first breath. A child born with light that did not belong to the earth, the hollow murmured. A child born with your missing piece, Era whispered. She saw her own tiny hands, glowing soft gold, her mother's tears of joy, her grandmother's silent, knowing fear. You were not just skyborn, the hollow said. You were mine. I'm not yours, Era said, voice shaking but firm. I am hers. She saw again the calloused hands that had held her, the soft songs sung beneath the living roof, the warmth of the village. And I am theirs. They borrowed you, the hollow answered. You are the light that never chose. Era's chest tightened. Never chose. She thought of all the nights she had stared up at the sky, feeling something watching back, something searching. It had been this, always this, the bargain the hollow offers. The reflective floor rippled. Era's reflections split into many, dozens, hundreds, surrounding her in a slow, swirling circle. In one reflection, she was older, cloaked in a shroud of darkness, her eyes hollow as the sky above. In another, she hovered between worlds, neither child nor star, suspended in a place that knew no ground. In another still, she stood above the village, arms spread wide, her light woven into a new sky that was neither ceiling nor prison, but a living veil. The hollow shadow's voice softened, the edges of its words cracking with something almost like longing. I came to take back what was mine, but you are not what I lost. You are what that loss became. The reflections turned. Era's ember flickered, answering unseen threads in the dark. What do you want from me? She asked. I want to be whole, the hollow said. But the sky I loved no longer exists as it was. The void pulsed gently. If I cannot take back what I was, I will become something new. New? She whispered. With you. The abyss shivered. A strange warmth spread through her chest. Join with me, the hollow said. Return here, where you belonged before breath. I will shield the world from what lurks beyond. You will be my heart. I will be your sky. The reflections showed a possible future. Era standing in the heavens, her golden ember grown immense, stretched into rivers of starlight. Below, the world sleeping peacefully beneath a soft, gentle night. But Era's feet were gone. She had no body, no heartbeat, only light, only duty, no laughter, no touch, no mourning. You would keep them safe, she whispered. Forever, the hollow answered. And me? She asked. You would never fall, never break, never be left. Her throat tightened. Never be left. She thought of Rena, her friend who had moved to the mountain city and never returned. Of the stories of people losing their families to storms, wars, hunger. Of the way her own mother's hands trembled sometimes when lighting a candle. The world was full of leaving. If you join me, the hollow continued, you will never lose anything again. The cost of never losing. The reflective floor brightened beneath her, showing her village, small, fragile, huddled under the wound where the sky had been. She saw her grandmother, eyes closed, lips moving in prayer. She saw the children, clinging to one another in the dark. She saw her own empty place near the hearth. A part of her ached to be there, to feel the rough wool blankets, to hear the crackling fire, to smell soup cooling in a clay bowl. You would keep them safe from what? She asked. The hollow shifted, beyond its form, further out than the nothingness she could see. Something moved. Not light, not shadow, something else. She couldn't quite perceive its shape. Only pressure. A constant push against the boundary where the sky used to be. What is that? She whispered. That is why the sky was made. The hollow answered. To keep what is outside from pouring in. And you? She asked. I was the first wall, it said. When the sky left me, I was left to the outside. His voice vibrated. Alone, the word echoed. Era tightened her fingers around the ember. If I become your heart, she said quietly, I become a wall too. Yes, a wall does not move, does not live. A wall does not lose, the hollow countered. Silence stretched between them. Her reflection shifted again. Now it showed her standing on the village hilltop, hair tangled in the wind, ember steady in her hand. The sky above her was wounded, but not gone. A tear through which stars still shone unevenly. She was still herself, still breathing, still able to choose. The question of who owns the sky. Who took your sky? Era asked suddenly. The hollow paused. The world did, it replied. Its maker, its mountains, its oceans, its beating things. Then why are you asking us? Era whispered. Why are you punishing us? Silence. The world was born from that sky you loved, she said. So when you try to tear it back, you're tearing at what it became. She looked down at her glowing hand. I am the same. I came from your missing light, but I became something else. The hollow studied her. You argue that what is taken has the right to change. Yes, she said. And what changes has the right to choose where it belongs. The vast void rippled. Do you choose them? It asked. The flesh that dies, the stone that cracks, the world that will end. Era thought of her grandmother's stories, of the living roof, of waking to the smell of rain on old wood. Yes, she whispered, I choose them, even if it means leaving what made you. Tears burned her eyes. She thought of the strange comfort she felt here, weightless, wrapped by a presence that had known her before she was born. If I stay, she said, voice shaking, I leave them. The hollow shadow said nothing. The ember in her hand flared, gold deepening into white. Her sky-born mark pulsed on her skin like a heartbeat. The half-answer. So here is my answer, Era said, lifting the light. The entire wound in the sky seemed to lean closer, listening. I won't return to you. The ember, the escaped star, flared like a captured dawn. But I won't abandon you, she added. The hollow recoiled in confusion. What does that mean? It means, Era said slowly, feeling the words form as if from a place older than her, that I will not become your heart, but I will not let you stay hollow. She pressed the light to her chest. Pain seared through her, bright and sharp. Her reflection split again, not into possibilities but into two shapes. One Era, small, human, trembling but whole. Another Era, taller, woven from threads of light and shadow. Her body a bridge between the void and the world. You do not need to be a wall, she whispered to the hollow. You can be a road. A road? The hollow echoed. Yes, between the outside and the sky, between fear and wonder, between you and them. The two reflections reached toward each other. The reflective floor cracked. Light spilled upward. Darkness spilled downward. The wound in the sky shuddered. The beginning of a new roof. The hollow shadow roared, not in rage this time, but in something broader, something frightened. If I am a road, I can be walked upon. Era smiled faintly through her tears. Yes, she said, but you also won't be alone. The ember burst. The last light did not vanish. It exploded outward, seeping into cracks, stitching fragile threads of brightness through the nothing above, along the edges of the hollow's wound. Shapes formed. Not the old sky dome, not the living roof she had always known, but something in between, a restless, shifting ceiling of faint light and shadow, like a tapestry still learning how to hang. Some stars returned. Some new ones appeared. Bits of raw darkness remained, not empty, but waiting. The hollow shadow watched, trembling. I do not understand what I am becoming, it whispered. Neither do I, Era admitted. She laughed once, shakily. But that's what living things do. They change without knowing how the story ends. The void exhaled. For the first time, the hollow's presence did not crush her. Simply was the step back toward the world. Cracks in the reflective floor widened, and Era saw the village far below. People huddled together, lanterns cold, eyes lifted toward a wounded, flickering sky. Her grandmother's face tilted upward, shining with tears and stubborn hope. Era, she whispered, as if she could hear her name through layers of impossible space. Era turned to the hollow. Let me go back, she said. If I stay, they lose me. If I return, they gain a bridge, even if they do not yet know it. And what do I gain? The hollow asked. Era reached out. She pressed her palm, marked, glowing, against the invisible curve of its presence. Someone who will walk between, she said softly. Not yours, not theirs, both. The hollow was silent. Then slowly, go. The floor dropped. Era fell, wrapped not in cold this time, but in a twilight warmth. As she plunged toward the distant village, she felt the new, stitched sky stretching above, the hollow learning to be more than a wound. Somewhere between, she felt herself changing, too. Not all the way human, not all the way star. Something in between. Something the world did not yet have a word for. The fall that did not break her. Era plunged through the wounded sky, but she did not crash. Twilight warmth wrapped her, slowing her descent as the world below swelled into view. Fires had died, trees leaned upward as if praying, and rooftops glimmered beneath the trembling new sky. She wasn't falling. She was being returned. A whisper followed, fading like a memory. Walk between. And then she drifted gently to the ground. The village that saw a star fall. Gasps rose around Era. Children peeked from doorways. Families gathered near the shrine. Everyone trembling beneath the stitched, flickering sky. Her grandmother rushed forward, gripping her tightly. Era, child, I feared the sky had swallowed you whole. I came back, Era whispered. The villagers stared at the glowing mark on her skin. It burns brighter, said Torin, the chief, like dawn woven into flesh. Above them, threads of light shimmered across the wounded sky, weaving slowly, uncertainly. Gaps of raw void still lingered, but the collapse had stopped. The sky was not healing. It was becoming, but something else trembled behind it, a distant pressure. The hollow shadow was not gone. It was changing. The first breath of the new sky. The villagers pointed upward. The stars. Some returned, but others flicker strangely. That one moves like water. Era's grandmother nodded. This sky is neither the old one nor the hollows. It is something new. Era felt the ember in her hand throb softly. The threads of light followed a rhythm. Slow, uneven, alive. The sky is breathing, Era whispered. And learning, her grandmother added. When the world sees what a child brought back. Torin's voice trembled. You went into the hollow, into the wound. Era nodded. I found a being trying to understand how to stop hurting. The villagers recoiled in fear. You spoke to it? You survived it? You reasoned with the thing that eats starlight? It thinks the sky was taken from it, Era said calmly. It was taken, an elder argued. Taken to shield us from whatever lies outside the world. And in that taking, Era whispered, it was left alone. Silence blanketed the village like snowfall. The sky's first tear of light. A low vibration hummed through the earth. Lanterns flickered. Shadows stretched. The stitched sky pulsed. Then threads of darkness seeped downward like falling ink. The hollow's voice echoed faintly. I am learning, but I am not yet whole. Era's heart tightened. It is hurting. Torin snapped. Hurting? It nearly unmade us. But now it is becoming something new, Era said. Becoming hurts. Her grandmother asked softly, What does it want now? Era listened. Guidance. The shadows return. In a new form. The air chilled. A ripple passed through the sky's woven surface. Then a shape descended. Not a monstrous hollow beast, but a vast face of drifting light and dark. Its soft void eyes rimmed with the faint glow of the light Era gave it. Its voice rolled like gentle thunder. You showed me the world through your light. Villagers fell to their knees. Era stood unmoving. I showed you my choice, she said. The rest is yours. The creature lowered its head. Teach me. The bridge between night and world. I cannot be your heart, Era whispered, but I can be your guide. The hollow not hollow bowed. Then guide me. A guide walks with the world, Era said, not above it. The creature shimmered, shrinking, folding darkness around light, light around darkness, until a tall silhouette of twilight stood before her, as deep as space, chest glowing with an echo of the ember. Not human, not sky, something between, a bridge, just like Era. The world breathes again. The villagers trembled as the twilight figure knelt, touching the earth for the first time. I would learn your world, but I know nothing of smallness. All journeys begin that way, Era whispered. Then light rose at the horizon. Dawn. Real warm dawn. The day. It returns. It was waiting behind the wound. Era's grandmother whispered. It is learning to let the day through. The twilight figure stared, awestruck. I do not understand day. You will, Era promised. But dawn always casts a shadow. As sunlight touched Era's shoulders, the ground shivered. A warning. One of the dark gaps in the stitched sky widened. A distant sound seeped through. Not the hollow. Not wind. Not creation. A slow scraping noise, as though claws dragged across the outside of the world. Era's breath faltered. The twilight figure turned sharply. What is that? It asked, fear quivering in its voice. Era felt the ember pulse. That, she whispered, is what the first sky was built to keep out. The sky shuddered. The warning that came with dawn. The first sunrise after the tearing should have been a blessing. Soft light warming rooftops, calming trembling earth. But as dawn touched the stitched sky, it shuddered in fear. Era felt the tremor first. The twilight figure beside her stiffened, its new form rippling like disturbed water. A scraping echoed from the widening tier above. Not thunder, not wind, a dragging, clawing noise. Something outside creation searching for a place to enter. Era's pulse raced. Her grandmother clung to her. Villagers hid their faces. Torin whispered, Is that the thing the first sky kept out? Yes, Era breathed. The sky that was not ready. The stitched sky trembled. Threads of light flickering, dimming, then brightening frantically, like a newborn creature sensing danger. It is learning, Era whispered, but it isn't strong enough yet. Her grandmother's voice shook. Then we must hide. We can't, Era said. If the sky breaks again, Nothing will survive. The twilight figure lowered its gaze. Before I was a wall, alone but strong. And now, Era asked, now, I am small. You are becoming, she corrected. Not losing strength, changing it. But the scraping grew louder, sharper. The outside remembers. A shape appeared behind the tear. Not a creature. Not a shadow. A pattern, spiraling darkness curling like smoke gaining thought. Lines of black shimmered, forming a claw that was not a claw, a hand that was not a hand, a presence without life, searching for life. The twilight figure stepped in front of Era. I remember that sound. It whispered. You've heard it before? She gasped. Yes, it is what waits beyond the boundary of all things. The scraping intensified. Era asked, what does it want? The twilight figure answered, whatever breaks. The strength a bridge does not have. Torin shouted for people to seek the shrine, but the shrine walls shook. Lanterns died. The world dimmed. It rose toward the tear. I will stand in the gap. Era reached for it. You'll be torn apart. I am not what I was, but I am not powerless. The scraping turned frantic. The claw pushed harder. The sky's first shield. The twilight figure spread its arms. Threads of shadow and starlight wove from its form, echoing the new sky. Not a dome, not a wall. Pattern alive, flowing, connected. A bridge. Era pressed the ember upward. A beam of golden light shot into the same pattern. Together they reached the tear. The claw pushed through, searching, twisting. The twilight figure pressed the woven pattern against the claw. Era reinforced it with the ember's light. The claw recoiled. The sky brightened. For a moment, the world held. The price of holding back the outside. But the outside was relentless. The twilight figure trembled. This woven form flickered. Threads snapped quietly. Era, it whispered. I cannot hold it alone. You're not alone. She placed her glowing hand on its back. Her light flowed into it, and instantly the outside pulled at her too. Her mark dimmed, her strength drained. Her grandmother screamed her name, but Era stood her ground. If I fade, we fade together. No, the twilight figure gasped. You must not. You walk between. You are what I am becoming. The claw twisted toward Era, sensing her light. The moment the outside recognized her, the claw paused, felt her. Her mark blazed gold. Recognition. She was the escaped star, the stolen dawn. And the outside wanted her. The claw lunged. The twilight figure threw itself between Era and the claw, and the sky erupted in blinding light. The shattering and the stillness. A shockwave cracked across the heavens. The claw vanished. The tear stopped widening, barely. As the light faded, Era found the twilight figure slumped against the sky's edge. Its form flickered like a candle in wind. I held the bridge, it whispered. You held the world, Era said. Teach me, it murmured faintly, that I may hold it again. I will. The tear pulsed weakly, contained, not healed. Era held the ember to her chest. We stopped the first claw, she whispered. Her grandmother stepped forward. What happens now? Era looked at the sky, the trembling tear, the stitched ceiling, the wounded twilight figure. Now, she said softly, we prepare for whatever else lives outside the sky. The stillness before the next breath. Morning light dripped across the wounded sky like liquid gold, but beneath its glow the world felt paused. Villagers spoke in whispers. Children clutched their parents. Even the river flowed quietly, as if afraid to disturb what lingered above. Era stood at the hill's edge, overlooking the trembling valley. The ember pulsed faintly in her palm. Beside her, the twilight figure kneeled, its woven body flickering as broken threads slowly repaired themselves. You saved us, Era murmured. No, it replied. We held the bridge. Era looked up at the sky. The tear still glowed faintly. It wasn't sealed, just contained. For now. More claws will come, she whispered. Yes, the twilight figure said. The outside never forgets a crack. So this is the beginning, Era said. Of what? The figure asked. Of learning to live beneath a sky that must be protected. The gathering in the shrine. The villagers assembled in the stone shrine, torches dimming near the entrance. Torin, the chief, stood before Era. You faced the hollow. You spoke with the outside. The sky listens to you now. It listens to all of us, Era said softly. But someone must speak first. Torin gestured to the twilight figure. And this being? Is it threat or ally? The twilight figure bowed. I am learning. Era stepped between them. It chose to protect us. It stood in the gap. It nearly unraveled itself to shield the world. An elder whispered, and if the outside returns, then we stand in the gap together, Era answered. Her grandmother stepped forward. The sky is changed, so must we be. The child walks between. This being walks between forms. Together, they are what the world now needs. After a long silence, Torin bowed. Then we follow them. The Skyborn writes. At sunset, villagers gathered on the hill. Torches flickered. Drums echoed. Era stood in the center as her grandmother approached with a mantle stitched with symbols of dawn, river, and star. This is the mantle of the Skyborn, the elder said. Once only myth. They draped it over Era's shoulders. Warmth spread through her. You are not the sky's servant, her grandmother whispered. You are its witness, its voice, its bridge. Era trembled. What if I fail? Then you stand again, the old woman said. The twilight figure stepped forward. And you will not stand alone. The lesson of two realms. Days passed. Era and the twilight figure learned from each other. She taught it shadows on earth. It taught her shadows where no ground existed. She taught it the names of things. It taught her the names of ideas older than the sky. She learned why the outside feared stillness. It learned why humans feared storms. Each night, they touched the stitched sky. Its texture shocked her every time, like cloth woven from light and cold water. What lies beyond the tear? She asked one night. Everything not meant to be seen, it answered. The second scrape. 3 nights after the rites, Era was woken by a sound slicing through her sleep. Scrape, She ran to the hill. The twilight figure was already there. Villagers followed, torches dimming. Era lifted the ember. It flared painfully bright. The tear widened. A new claw emerged, thicker, sharper. Torin whispered, horrified. The first was searching. This one is testing. The twilight figure nodded grimly. The outside does not give up. Era tightened her grip on the ember. She refused to give up, too. The first word the outside understood. Era stepped forward. "What are you doing?" her grandmother cried. "Speaking to it." She raised the ember. It blazed white. The claw recoiled, not from pain but recognition. Something cold brushed her mind. The outside was listening. Era let the ember's warmth fill her. A word rose inside her, old, not human. She spoke it. Halen Te. The world trembled. The claw froze. The sky brightened. "What did you say?" her grandmother whispered. "I don't know," Era said. "But the outside does." The claw withdrew slightly. Not gone. Listening. The outside's question. Dark spirals formed behind the tear, eyes without pupils. A question filled the air. "It wants to know your name," the twilight figure whispered. "Why?" "Because names grant shape," her grandmother begged. "Do not answer it." But Era felt the truth. The outside had never understood the world, never understood life, never understood choice. Until now. She raised her chin. "My name is Era." The sky roared. Wind blasted outward. Villagers fell to their knees. The twilight figure caught Era before she stumbled. Then, silence. The tear stopped pulsing. Not closed. Listening. The world learns its name. "You gave it a shape," the twilight figure said. "Something to understand." "And now?" Era asked. "Now it will try to understand the world that gave you your name." Era looked at the trembling sky, at the tear that had once threatened to swallow the world. Hope flickered. Her grandmother approached, tears in her eyes. "You spoke to the outside." Era squeezed her hands gently. "No, I introduced us." The twilight figure placed its glowing hand over hers. "One day," it murmured, "the sky will speak back." At dawn, the stitched sky shimmered gently, no longer trembling in fear, but breathing like something alive. And the tear glowed faintly, not a wound, but an awakening eye. For the first time in remembered history, the sky breathed without fear. The end.